I hope you're hungry because you're listening to Everybody Eats.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Everybody Eats podcast. Man, if you notice anything different, if you guys are watching, we finally got even in person so we can do these episodes in person instead of that three-way Zoom calls and whatnot. So we're excited for today's episode. We have a really special guest joining with us today. We are here with Mr. Mouse Jones. Thank you very much for joining us on today's episode. For those listening, make sure you're following us on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're on there. Everybody Eats. Check out our Instagram page. That's everybodyeats.pod. That's where we have all our clips, snippets, posts, and all that good stuff. And obviously, make sure you follow us on Twitter on EVEPod. We've changed our handle a few times, but that's our latest one, EVEPod on Twitter. So make sure that you're following us. And one last shout out, for these beautiful hoodies and t-shirts and Black Lives Matter t-shirts. Shout out to Sosa. We had him on the podcast, and we've been working with him along with Kilty. He's been making our Black Lives Matter gear as well as our Everybody Eats gear. So shout out to Sosa from Hood Royalties. He's been putting us a lot of work. So again, we got to shout out and support Black business. So that's today's intro. So Mr. Mouse Jones, if you could introduce yourself, where you from, what do you do? You got a lot of things going on with your podcast and show like that. So if you could just introduce what do you do, all your little projects and stuff like that, and you could get everyone from there.
What's poppin'? It's your man Mouse Jones, aka the Heartthrob, aka the man who puts the jux in juxtaposition, better known as the host of Trap Karaoke, better known as 1/3 of the Guys Next Door conglomerate, host of Quarantine Nightly. I've been a few places a few times. That's really it. I ain't doing nothing too special.
Got you. So you talking about Quarantine Nightly. So the first segment we're going to talk about is quarantine. So just in general, I think at this point quarantine is starting to come to a close. So I'm interested, like, how has quarantine impacted you personally on a personal level? I know it impacted everybody a little bit differently, just like staying from home, things like that. So how's it impacted you personally, as well as all your different podcasts and things like that?
I mean, me personally, quarantine ain't really bothering me. I'm somebody who's gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right regardless. I'm used to being on punishment growing up. In my room by myself, I'll find a piece of lint and play with it. You know what I mean? So, that ain't really affected me in no kind of way. It actually probably had like more of a positive benefit because I've been quarantined back on Long Island. I haven't been around my family like this for a very long time. So, getting reacclimated with my fam, my mom, my dad, and just, seeing that funny interaction of, how, like, I'm mad old and, like, realizing, like, my parents just don't close doors. Like, the door will be closed and you come in somewhere and you won't close the door. Like, what is your problem with closing the door back the way you found it? Like, shit like that, and getting to know my kids a lot better, because being on the road with Trap Karaoke and just, the various things I was doing over the past 3 years, I ain't really had no time to really be home like this. So I'm taking it, like I said right now, like I'm working out with my daughter right now and, just trying to instill discipline and work ethic in it now. So yeah, it's had some positive benefits. Obviously there's been a negative, lost my uncle, lost some close family members, friends of the family. But it really just instilled a go hard or go home work ethic, right? Like if you could get it in quarantine, then you a hustler, you know what I mean? That's really what I've went out of my way to prove to myself that I could do. Hence Quarantine Nightly, came out of just being at the crib. And after I lost my uncle, I'm like, nah, nigga, like, you got to do something. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, that's really it. That's really quarantine in a nutshell, getting used to this fucking mask and all these fucking masks all over.
Come back to the car for it.
Yeah. I guess you.
Would you say Quarantine Nightly's how you overcame your, I feel like everybody's had it, but like your quarantine slump?
I don't know if I had one. My pockets might have had one. But me personally, I I don't subscribe to that thought process, being in a slump. That takes a certain level of acceptance that's just not in me. You know, that to accept the slump is to accept that you are okay with losing. I'm never okay with losing. So, like I said, it's definitely set me back financially. But you know, I'm gonna find a way. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can't speak to that just because, like I said, I don't subscribe to that type of thinking.
Okay. Gotcha. Nah, it's good. It's good.
That's a good question, though. That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nah, I was gonna say that's really good to hear though. Like overall, obviously, like quarantine, like it's had, or like this whole COVID, like you know, I know people who've lost loved ones as well. Like it's definitely had that like negative impact, but like being able to hear that, you know, just using the time to get closer to family and things like that, like 100%, like I agree, like it's giving me time to get closer, even like to my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to just like speak to her more because I risked, right? And like, you know, you start to really appreciate like, yo, like people were dropping, especially in New York, like people were dropping like flies, like, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta stay close to your family. You gotta,
Felt like a horror movie at one point.
Yeah, for real. So definitely blessed for, you know, my family and immediate family, and like they've been good and stuff like that. Have you been watching sports? Like
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I know like NBA just came back about like a month ago, so like
And we about to lose it again. God damn.
Yeah.
White people will fuck up some shit, man. Listen.
Word. So like before in terms of NBA playoffs, like you have a team who you rooting for.
Somebody just asked me of it. Somebody asked me yesterday. Somebody was interviewing me. They asked me that shit. I was like, I'm a Knicks fan, yo. Like, so I just enjoy basketball. Like, I don't really have it. And in the team that I do typically go for in the playoff, they tend to embarrass me. But I don't want to mess up any political connect, so I won't say the name of that team. But y'all could just look at the playoff race and look who's not there. No,
I'm a Knicks fan too. So to be honest, it's like it hurts not.
Yeah, you just got to be a fan of basketball.
Exactly. At this point, but like I don't know, like people have been balling. Like Luka Doncic, he's been doing his thing, so he's been balling crazy.
Black Lives Matter. That's what I would like to say in regards to Luka Doncic. Black Lives Matter.
100%. But I've been looking. I wanted to see the Blazers do like after the Blazers won that first game. I was like, yo, they really might give the Lakers a run for their money. And all right, LeBron came back. The one game, I'm saying, Dame. Oh, Dame. Yeah. Nah, but I'm a Carmelo fan, so like I want to see him do well. So like I like seeing them two play together and all that. But like LeBron came back, you know, after those games, and LeBron's not playing any games when it comes to the playoffs. So it might go, if the season continues, it's about to be Lakers in 5, more likely than not. But so before we end this this one, like, are you looking forward to, or is there anything in particular as quarantine has been like lifting and it's like looks like it's coming to a close soon, but we're still in there, but is there anything maybe you're looking forward to specifically once things get back to normal?
Hugs, man, hugs.
Hugs.
Like hugs, like seeing your mans and being like, yo, my nigga.
We made it, bro.
Like I can't wait to be back at Trap Karaoke and like just being on stage. Like, if you survive COVID, make some motherfucking noise. Yo, I promise you, when this shit is lifted, I'm gonna wild on COVID. Like, I'm gonna wild on them. Like, I'm flipping on COVID.
Nah, that's for real though. Like, in how many years from now we gonna look back like, yo, we survived. Like,
this is the textbook. I was right here.
Yeah, yo, we telling my kids like the great pandemic of 2020. Like, we made it out. Like, really surviving it is for real, like a thing. You know, like being grateful for it. 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I would say like one thing I really miss, like, yo, movie theaters, yo, like.
Oh, yeah, I ain't even think about, yo. My nigga, I go to the movies by myself.
Yo,
miss that, son. Like,
yo, for real, like it was me, Edom, and then our boy Alan. Like, like back when like senior year and stuff like that, like we used to always hit up this movie theater by the school. Like that was like the regular, like whenever
every
new movie.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
every Tuesday we out. We out to Queens to go watch this movie.
Like we knew it, like Fresh Meadows AMC, like that was the spot. And like,
Oh wow.
like now like AMC,
Sneaky
like
dates up
like
there, yeah.
I being able to go, like that's definitely one thing I miss. But yo, 15, like they're supposed to come back with the 15-cent movies. They say AMC may come back with the 15-cent movies. So
Nah, but I fuck with the I fuck with everybody's creativity. You know, it's definitely giving you a chance to experience some fun shit like the drive-in movie theater out.
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't gonna say the one I go to because you know I don't want to make it hot.
Yeah.
There's some in New York, then there's the one in Newark. I want to go to the one in Newark that's all black. I want to go to that one.
Gotcha.
I was able to see Nightmare on Elm Street and
Okay.
Scream at that shit. So
I gotta go.
you're fire.
I gotta look up for this area to see whichever ones maybe open. But
I'm trying to see
Tenet, that looks good, Chris.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But all right. So on that note, let's go to our next segment. Trap Karaoke, Guys Next Door. If you could explain what is Trap Karaoke, what is Guys Next Door, and Quarantine Nightly, if you just speak about like those, your role in them, how they started, your roles, and all that stuff.
All right, so let's go down the list. So Trap Karaoke, Trap Karaoke is literally the greatest show on earth. And then they added me and became the greatest show in the universe. So it's basically it's what it sounds like, right? It's just one big black ass sing along. You know, I say about 20 to 25 people get on that stage a night. But I make sure everybody feels like they was on stage. You know, we're singing and we're dancing and we are just literally reveling in our blackness. We're literally celebrating being black and not letting nobody tell us how to be black. So that's really what Trap Karaoke is. They have been running for about four years before I got there. And the funniest part is I've been a supporter since like the beta, right? Like when they first tested it out, I remember getting an email. Getting invited, and I went, and me and my friends, like, we were just niggas about it. So like, you know, the previous host, he wasn't big on letting guys up, and I understood that. 1 second, you gotta get him in shape. They be on that iPad all the time, son. She's 13. She be on that iPad all the time. I'm like, nah. I told her, I said, you're gonna earn that iPad time now. Like, you ain't gonna touch that. You're gonna be tight. You gonna fling that iPad when we done. Do it. So yeah, I was saying, yeah, so I got so me and my homeboy was just being niggas. So we was like, nah, what, you ain't gonna let us on, so we gonna wild out from the crowd. And then people remember that, obviously. And then because we were, you know, it is in New York and we were prevalent on Twitter at the time, people would just remember that. And then when the first official one came out in Brooklyn, I remember like everybody was excited. We all pulled up on it. I think the tickets was like $5 or something. So like niggas was like, it was a real event. I remember like there just being like this palpable feeling amongst New York, like for this first one. And it was like, I bet. And I went, we did the same exact thing. And I made a lot of connections that led to a lot of important things for me that night. So I just, from the very beginning, Trap Karaoke has always had a special place. And it's like one of those full circle moments that always happens in my career. Trap Karaoke always held a special place to me. And I remember I would hit the nigga up, Jason, I would hit him. He's like, that's my big brother now. He's my boss too. But I would always hit him up like, yo, you should let me host. I'm nice, let me host. And my name was getting big in the city. He would pay it dust. He would not pay no mind to what I'm saying, like leave messages on red. None of that. And then you fast forward 4 years, you know, and I'm literally what I say I am. I'm the best host in New York City. You know, I host the Staples Center for BET Weekend. I'm hosting all these grand stages. And then he reaches out, has me come out in Philly, which I think he already knew. I had a very tight knit, insulated fan base in Philly. You know, Philly people didn't even know. I just popped up. They went crazy. And I was on tour from that point till when it became Trap Karaoke with Mouse Jones. So just being able to be in all these places and touch all these black people and take all these pictures with all these people that and to like it's one thing to be on social media and see like fans and things of that nature every day. Shout out to them, shout out to the people that fuck with me the way they do. It's one thing to wake up every day and see 10, 20 messages a morning of people just showing love and obviously the hate, I don't pay that shit no mind. But like there's just so much love and it's like so if somebody like me, that shit don't mean nothing. It's internet. But to see it in person, see the way people react to me in person, yeah, that's just crazy. So that's Trap Karaoke. Um, and then Guys Next Door actually came about. Me, Mac Wiles, and Ryan. We're friends in real life. We all were turning 30. Me and Ryan actually have the same birthday. Both our birthdays April 15th. So we all realized, we turning 30, and we realized the conversations we was having was like, no matter where we would be at Dumbo House, the hood spot, the hood change, no matter what conversation we had, everybody's in it. Everybody's like, paying attention. So there was a conversation, and then we started Guys Next Door, a health podcast, for everything, to everything to have a healthy life. And we've seen that, right? We've seen it gives women an insight to how we think, gives niggas a sounding platform. To see where we started a year and a half ago and to look where we ended up 6 months after that to now where we're at, it's amazing to see. Roots Picnic, that's within our first couple of months, right? Like we were still figuring out our voice as a podcast when we booked Roots Picnic. Then Curl Fest, to have the moment at Curl Fest, and I think a lot of that is obviously me as that A mic and directing traffic, but a lot of that goes to Mac's ability to not care, right? To have a A-list celebrity as your friend, I think sometimes we take for granted because you're like, oh man, that nigga. But for him to be as candid and as open, that's the only way this works.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the only way this works. Is where I don't feel like, or where the audience doesn't feel like I have to interview him every episode, where we're actually having open dialogue. That's the only way this works. And, kudos to him. And I think just overall, the learning process, I think people love to listen to people learn. People love listening to you learn. And that's my advice to all podcasters. People love listening to you learn. So always, even if you're a podcast that's based on like fucking banter and just bullshit, if people feel like they're listening to you learn, they feel like they're learning, and they're gonna pay attention. So shout out to the neighborhood, shout out to Guys Next Door, shout out to all the guests that's been on. I believe City Girls was the last episode. No, Hard or Soft. The Hard or Soft podcast was the last episode. So shout out to Tahoe and Orlando. Then the week before that we had the City Girls. So shout out to them for pulling up. And in Quarantine Nightly, I went into this quarantine just very focused on paying attention to what I wanted my return to outside to look like. And it very easily came to me saying, stretch it out right here. It came to me like, you want to end up, my end goal is to be on Good Morning America, right? How do I get there? I gotta have a resume. So I said, well, what if I let people hear how it would sound if I had my own night show, my own nightly news show? And I did it. And 250,000 listens later, and I haven't recorded one episode over the summer. And it's just like 3 months of doing that. I did take a break because I did want to kind of separate it from quarantine. I do want it to be something that exists after and beyond. But yeah, Quarantine Nightly, shout out to my writing team, shout out to Dez, shout out to Just Latasha, two super hysterical and great writers that I was able to tap for that first run. But we'll be back, and it'll be different, and it'll be as good, if not better.
So you said,
I hope I'm not ranting.
No, you good.
Yeah.
You said something interesting. You said people want to hear you learn. Could you kind of like elaborate on that? Like what exactly do you mean by what do you mean by I guess like your listeners want to hear you learn, and like I guess like how have you learned? Like examples like
like what does that look like?
Yeah, like what's that?
Okay, so the best way I can paint it is I'm not one of these people who believe my own hype, right? I'm very analytical of other success and my own. So what does that mean? That means I can tell you, I can pinpoint exactly why people love me and why certain people love me, right? So a lot of my success is attributed to my being a cast member on the Grapevine, because it gave a stark juxtaposition to the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Yeah, as you should. Take a shower, funky butt. Okay. My fault. I thought I muted it. So yeah, so the He-Man Woman Haters Club, very, very, very male dominated, male energy. Me and Reek was just saying the first thing that came to mind, and in the beginning, definitely we're not as responsible with the platform as I should have been. But that goes to the knowledge. And then I got on Grapevine and realized, whoa, there's a whole nother sector of people that I'm not touching.
Yeah.
So now I'm here having these political debates, and I'm having these socioeconomical debates, and I become a pundit. What I always wanted to be, but I found the voice there. And in that, I learned. I did not come. There were certain things that I didn't learn. There was just certain things that I always felt a way about, but no one ever asked. And there was never a way for me to display. So a lot of people will say in the Grapevine YouTube comment, like, yo, I just love Mouse's growth. There wasn't really no growth. Just nobody asked me. But there was so much that I learned. And I think everybody sees it from a genuine standpoint that I literally want to learn. If there's something that I am opposed to, it may be out of ignorance, sheer me not knowing. The sheer definition of ignorance, without knowledge. I'm just ignorant to it. I want to learn. I want to get this. I want to understand. I think once people start seeing that, I think there was a genuineness that people latched onto, which followed my other endeavors. So if you take people who would not be into fashion, would not be into streetwear, would not be into sneakers, but they trust me, and they've watched me learn. Now they're gonna let me learn them something. So you take those Grapevine fans, and then they come over to the Clubhouse. Then they come over to I'll Apologize Later, my BET show. Then they come over to Colorways and Toe Boxes, my other BET show. And then they come over to Tunnel Takedown, my fashion show on Complex. I'm weaving these people and I'm picking them up, all because I was willing to learn publicly. A lot of Black males in the public eye don't want to seem weak or don't want to not have the answer. That's my superpower. I just gave y'all that. I don't like giving out my superpower, but that's my superpower. Always being in a position to be willing to learn.
Yeah.
My superpower, my biggest attribute is never being afraid to say, I don't know, show me. Well, I don't know, tell me. I don't know this, tell me. Enlighten me. And so that's why I say people love to listen to you learn. People will listen to you learn and feel like they've learned, and then they will take your name to other places.
I can co-sign in terms of you started off with the stark contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Your podcasting and Grapevine. Yeah, when I saw you on Grapevine first, and then I started following more recently Guys Next Door, and I listened to an episode of Quarantine Nightly, and just seeing the difference, I guess, in terms of how you are on both platforms. But then, I don't know if I put you on or you put me on, and we both found it, but we both watching Grapevine a few years back, and just seeing, especially more towards these socioeconomic episodes, just seeing, you made a comment about And it's always stuck with me. A white woman with a gun is more dangerous. No, a white woman with
A
an
white
agenda
woman with an agenda is
is more
more
dangerous.
dangerous than any black man with a gun. Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's something that was like ringing in my head, my personal time during quarantine. With the recent events that happened, it kind of had me fucked up a little bit for like 2 weeks or so, and then hearing that kind of helped a little bit in terms of giving me perspective towards the whole thing. And then more recently, to I guess co-sign your learning comment, they did an episode about misogyny and hip hop, and I came in there kind of assuming you'd be on like so starkly on one side instead of trying to see the other side. But it really surprised me seeing Mouse actually, I'd say, sit in the middle, I guess, and absorb everything. I would, just
Like you almost have to if you want progress, right? Because if you just ask me that question, the glaring overall answer is hell yes. Misogyny exists in hip hop. Is it what it's based on? No. But does it exist? Yes. Is it prevalent? Yes. Is it destructive? Yes. Does it exist? Yes. Do the women and men both perpetrate it? Yes. Yes. That's the answer.
Yeah.
But now I have to hear both sides. Now I have to hear the detractors and the those type of niggas that's like, no, my brother, well, you don't understand, my brother. Well, what you got to hear them, because I tell you, the scariest part about these hotep niggas is they always be almost right. That's the scariest part about these niggas. The scariest part about the niggas that look to detract us from embracing everyone is that there is almost always some truth in what they're saying. So you got to listen so you can pull that part out and be like, all right, now that other bullshit got to go, right? And I feel like I did that with my brother Carl a few times on that episode. But then you also have to hear the women. You also got to hear the women who are living it, right? And you got to understand, like, okay, well, am I fighting so hard to say there is misogyny that I am overlooking your autonomy and your ownership and your agency to discussing this, right? I was watching Def Comedy Jam the other day, because that's literally, if there's no Martin, no Bernie Mac, no Angie Martinez, I don't exist, right? So I'm always watching old Def Comedy Jam on Amazon just to watch the way Martin controlled that stage and hosted, and I would like to think that that is prevalent when I'm on stage, but I was watching it. And I remember Adele Givens, who had the most appearances of anyone, male or female, on Def Comedy Jam. She said, I could suck a dick, but it's a problem if I say I suck a dick. And I was like, and I never could verbalize. I'm always like, yo, what is niggas' problem with women, with the whole WAP thing and just Cardi and everybody, Sukihana, like, so those are some of my favorite people. Forget women. Those are my favorite people in hip hop. Somebody who is unashamed and unafraid to embrace who they are. I love that. So to see this, visceral kickback from men and women, I'm like, what? I'm like, wait. So you want a woman that sucks dick, but God forbid if she talks about it.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to hear both sides. So I think if you want true, because I think if y'all watch enough of the show, you see, I always say, okay. I say two things. I point out accountability and when it's missing, and I always ask, what is the solution? If the solution is progress, you have to sit in the middle. You have to sit in the middle, but you also have to sit in the middle, more leaning towards the underdog, more leaning towards the oppressed, more leaning towards the underrepresented person. But you got to sit in that middle because you got to be willing to hear both, because there's truth on both sides.
Yeah, that's a fact. That this just reminds me. We were talking the other day about being like versatile and kind of like in the things that we could talk about. You know what I'm saying? And like other day you were saying like, oh, someone told you got like a lot of personality and things like that.
Yeah,
And we were just talking about the ability to kind of like, you know, have like be in rooms with multiple different type of people and have multiple different type of you know, conversations, be multifaceted. Whatever. I think that's got to be multifaceted. You know, kind of like, you know, this podcast has helped me in that way too. Hosting it and like doing it with them, and just, you know, we're about to come up on a year. Next month is about to be a year since we started this.
Congratulations on that. Congratulations. I know a lot of podcasts that didn't make it 6 months, 2 months, 6 episodes. So congratulations.
Appreciate that. So yeah, it's about to be a year, and it's like this had me thinking about all the different type of guests that we've had. You know what I'm saying? We've had fellow podcasters, we've had professors, we've had politicians, we've had accountants. You know what I'm saying? We have some of our boys that we used to do, you know, knucklehead stuff with, you know what I'm saying, who are now, you know, business owners type joint, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, being multifaceted, having those conversations, you know, and I don't know, to me, I think that just helps you develop yourself as an overall human being.
Yeah, you gotta be I tell people all the time, I am a full and complete human being. I embrace every part of me, every single part of me. So if you thought I was just some thug nigga, you're wrong, because I'm a thug nigga that love Pokemon, that love wrestling, that love Power Rangers, that love tattoo art, that love streetwear, that love my queer brothers and sisters, that love literature, that love and whatever else, you know, because I don't know what my switch is right here. Okay, I was just playing Pokemon and Batman before y'all called. All right, these niggas about to call. I know I could finish, you know, this gym battle before. I'm a nigga that love candles. I'm a nigga that loves skincare. Like, I am all of these things and afraid to embrace none. So you have to do that, or you're doing yourself a disservice and anyone who supports you.
100%. That reminds me, some post I saw the other day. I don't even remember who said it. I just want to credit Steve Harvey, but I don't think it was him who actually said it. But it was just kind of pretty much saying that, like, you know, like as a black man, pretty much like there's tackling the stigma that like a lot of black men, like a lot of our answers to things are either going to be like, a lot of times growing up in hood, our reply to things like anger, right? A lot of times we're told to be upset, told to be like, yo, don't mess with me, don't like type joint. You know what I'm saying? And how all those stereotypes can really prevent you from actually loving parts of yourself that you didn't even know type joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys just mentioned, like, you like to play Pokemon, you love candles, you love wrestling, right? But then, you know, it may not be those things particularly, but some people might be like, for example, candles. I love candles too, right? Like, I have like a rainforest. Candle right here. Yeah, I got like a rainforest mist scent, like right here.
Got these joints going crazy right now.
For real, exactly.
Yeah. The wood.
I love my candles, right? But like some people might be like, oh, like you like candles? Yeah, that's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Or like when it comes to like skincare, you know what I'm saying? I like taking care of my skin.
Those niggas don't shit every day, bro. You just gotta remember that. Niggas that think like that don't shit every day.
That's a fact.
Like, really, think about that. You don't shit every day. So that means literally and figuratively, you are full of shit. I shit 3 to 4 times a day.
Gotta go, yo. It's healthy.
That means I'm drinking my water.
Yeah.
I'm eating properly. I don't give a fuck what no nigga who don't shit every day has to say to me. Yo, you shit today? Nah, bro, that's crazy. I ain't even shit today. You are constipated. You need a couple.
Yeah, man. Like that's a fact. It's like embracing different parts of you, and like I don't know, we see it all the time. Again, it's like, you know, he's a big anime watcher. He put me on to a lot of anime. Just like,
see, if anime came in English like naturally, I would watch it. I hate subtitles, yo.
Yo, it makes it better, bro.
I can't watch Narcos. I can't watch like anything that is dubbed. I can't get with.
That's crazy, yo. Narcos is a really great show. One,
I believe it. It looks amazing. I don't like. I read so much that when I watch TV, I don't want to read.
Got you. Damn, everybody different, yo. I don't know. I love it.
I'm hurt. I'm not gonna argue.
Like I watched I will watch Dragon Ball Z. I will watch that shit. Anything Dragon Ball Z related. if it comes across, I will watch it. I did enjoy Attack on Titan.
That's really good.
Okay.
But it was dubbed. But I did enjoy the first season. I love Airbender.
Okay.
I'm
That's
watching-
English.
That's
though.
English.
That's English.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I will watch that.
Yeah.
And then the Legend of Korra I just started yesterday. Yeah, so I be trying, yo. Anything that doesn't make me feel like an adult, anything that like does not make me feel like an adult, I super try and get into. But you know, it also battles against, you know, the shit that I gotta watch for just work and just being
Of course.
you know, well-rounded in that. Also I'm a huge true crime buff. So like I'm always like doing like 2 or 3 fake investigations on like some type of crime shit. So it's like it's a lot going on with me.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of like we were saying, it's pretty much the same conversation we had the other day of just like being able to be in all those rooms and like it's amazing. I mean, for me at least, like I love talking to people. So like, you know, being able to be knowledgeable and it's like be able to have different conversations, and then kind of like you said, like even when you don't know something, like being able to ask that question, like, yo, inform me, let me know, like what are your
just putting your pride aside too, you know.
To say that like I do not know this, you know. So I think that's a great tip. So I would just say one last thing, like if you could give I guess a tip or like a real piece of advice to either new podcasters, people trying to get into that hosting environment, like similar to what you do, content creation, whatever, like what would you say is like a real key, you know, advice for them who are either started new or like, you know, to be successful?
Find your voice. That's it. Find your voice. I remember when I first started, I just remember everyone being like, yo, what the fuck? Who is, like, what the fuck? You get what I'm saying? Like, because I wasn't like any other host they seen. I'm more like the nigga that you're like, I'm more like the nigga that you were just cracking jokes with on the block and then you blink and he on stage and you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's because people like Tax Stone and people like Charlemagne the God, people like Petey Green, showed me that there is space for me to be me.
Yeah.
Not being anyone else, not being a cardboard cutout, not being, and I think the biggest part of that, because I didn't go to school. I dropped out of high school, went to the military, never went to college, never had any formal training. I just went and said, there was something innate when I seen the Kid Low Key on stage at the first Henny Palooza I went to. I was like, I could do that, and I could do that better. I could do that.
Yeah.
And then being at other events and watching people host, I'm like, I could do that. I could definitely do that. That needs to be me.
Yeah. And
I went about it my own way. You know, I get there, I talk shit with the crowd, I flirt, I talk to the niggas and I talk to the women. I talk to everybody. I talk to the cis het community. I talk to the queer community that's in the building. I make everybody feel seen, and I enjoy it. It is not a chore to me. And if you can find the part of it that is for you, you'll be fine. Charlemagne has a principle in his Black Privilege book called "Fuck Your Dreams If They're Not Your Dreams." And forever, I had been saying that and just didn't have the verbiage for it. People be like, you're so evil, you're so rude and all that. Because I was doing stand-up before and I would tell people, you shouldn't be doing this. I'll see somebody doing something, you shouldn't be doing that. Niggas would be rapping, why you rapping? You shouldn't be doing that. Like I remember for like 4 years, I was just telling every rapper I knew, you suck. Like y'all rap niggas suck. And people were like, why you would do that? And it's like, because a lot of these niggas wouldn't be rapping if somebody else wasn't rapping. It's a difference between being inspired by somebody and trying to copy somebody.
That's right.
Even in the Bible, I don't know, you know, everybody's religious background, but in the Bible, it speaks about the bag of talents that God gave us, right? He said to worry about your bag of talents because you can't do what's in the other person's bag. Yeah. And when you're trying to do what's in the other person's bag, I can't bless you. I say this over and over and over again. We always, always, always ask for a blessing, but very rarely do we put ourselves in a place of receipt for those blessings. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if God is saying, or whomever you believe in, if your higher power is saying, I'm going to bless you, I hear you, my nigga, I'm going to bless you. But this is the blessing I have for you. And you're over here worried about what somebody else's blessing is. You ain't ever gonna get your blessing. And you're gonna be a bitter bitch about it too. You're like, oh, yeah, motherfucker, don't fuck with me. Oh, see, niggas. Like, you ever see niggas that suck at rapping complaining about not getting support?
Yeah.
That is the most support someone can give you, is by not being supportive of you being really bad at this thing.
Yeah.
If you weren't focused on that, you would be focused on what you're good at.
Yeah. Now that reminds me, I forgot somebody I follow, again, I don't remember, but they're like, yo, don't follow your, like, especially because I heard it not, and I used to tell people this too, like, yo, follow your passion. And they're like, yo, don't follow your passion, follow like what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? And like it'll be completely different. And I kind of had to sit back and think about that too a little bit, because at first I was like, nah, like it's supposed to follow your passion. But then something's like, yo, sometimes like what you like isn't necessarily what you're good at. And if you just put your energy towards what you're good at, you'll see way more success than necessarily, doing something that you like. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's to necessarily knock people's passion, but kind of like you said, like, are you rapping because you just like to rap, or like, are you actually good at it type of, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you're not good at it, but you're better at, say, like, I don't know, writing scripts or something for something else, like, focus on that, and like you're gonna do better and be more successful in that than you here, trying to rap because it's cool or it's a cool thing to do. So that made me think of that. But
I got a quote.
You got nothing. All right, so before we go to the last segment, we'll do today's our word of the day. You got that quote.
You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Every time. Every time. Every fucking time.
You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Every fucking. That is one game you will not lose. If you play stupid games, you will get a stupid fucking prize every time. And I tell you, the reason I said that quote is because niggas kept playing stupid games with me. And then when they received the stupid fucking prize, I'm this hothead, I'm irrational, niggas don't want me in their events, and I'm like, leave me alone.
Punched his cousin in the chest. He had bronchitis. I don't know what prize what stupid game he played. I heard that 2 weeks ago when I was setting up my sister's bed. I was crying.
I didn't mean, listen. Look, the reason why, that goes to show you the type of nigga I am. I could have took that out the podcast because the high key made me sound like some sadistic, murdering ass little kid.
Can't even breathe.
He's my cousin. You don't look at you could have a sickly ass cousin like hobbling and shit. But when y'all like kids, you don't see that. You're just like, that's my cousin. So I punched him in his chest. And the nigga was like, and I was like, oh, he about to die. Like, I ain't mean to do that, but he kept playing with me. So
I can't breathe too.
He got a stupid. See, the thing he didn't say on that podcast, he kept bothering me. Even our other cousin was playing a game of basketball, and because he was younger than us, and like obviously we're all adults now, so everybody's sized out. But at the time, he was a lot smaller than us. So we like, move, little nigga. He kept bothering. Wow, punched him. I didn't know he was gonna. Listen, that was his stupid prize for the day.
I'm weak. I like that quote. Play stupid games and get stupid prizes.
Every fucking
teaching moment.
For sure.
That's the Ryan Leslie word of the day.
Ryan Leslie word of the day.
For sure. All right. So on the last segment of today's last topic, I want to talk about what's going on in the Black community. One of the most recent things that's happening, by the time this drops, this would be probably like a month from now or so, but from today's date, recording date.
Y'all niggas hold on to shit, huh?
We just got, we've been putting in some work, bro. So we do same shit I got, dick.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So, but from today's recording day, yesterday, the NBA players did not take the court. The Milwaukee Bucks, they didn't even walk onto the court. The Orlando Magic, they were warming up once they heard that Milwaukee will not be playing. I mean, they low-key had no choice but to not play. I mean, they weren't going to play themselves. But, as well as the WNBA, I saw David had a really powerful statement yesterday. I believe they had, I forgot what team it was, but they had, like, on the back of their shirts, they spelled out Jacob Blake's name in, like, gunshot wounds, and multiple other WNBA teams. I believe I saw something today, like the MLB, there was, like, a game that got canceled, like, pretty much well.
Yeah, all the Milwaukee teams then.
Oh, Milwaukee teams? Okay, yeah.
So team, the hockey team, and obviously the basketball team.
Got you. So, so this is a brand new topic. I want to know, like, what's your thoughts on that? On the boycott? We'll start from there because
I get it, man. I get it. I fucking get it, and I love to see it. Yeah. And for it to happen on the anniversary of Colin Kaepernick taking the knee, like I love to fucking see it. Yeah. Listen, we don't have the answers, and I'm not looking to my athletes for those answers. Yeah. But I do appreciate and cherish when the athletes acknowledge that they are more than their job, and they do acknowledge their blackness and their humanity overall, because there are some whites joining in, especially in the WNBA. Does not change my outlook on white women, but just saying, I do acknowledge it. So I love to see it. I love to see that. And like I tell everybody, these athletes don't have the answer. Playing or not playing is not going to change anything. So for them to risk their livelihood in knowing that they're in touch, and that's what I feel most proud about, is knowing that the sport that I love the most and the athletes who play it acknowledge it. They acknowledge that they're black, and acknowledge that they get it, and that this could be them.
Yeah, 100%.
Shout out to the WNBA, because those women, especially the black women, they have the most to lose, and they are the loudest.
Yeah, that's a fact.
As usual.
That's a fact.
As usual.
Naomi Osaka, she wrote a statement today that she wasn't going to go play.
Yep.
In like her next Open, and that was a little bit personal because she's half Japanese, half Asian. I'm Haitian, obviously, right? So that touched me, seeing her, like, her acknowledging her blackness. You know what I'm saying? Because even with her, you'll see, like, they play games like ESPN and like a lot of these things. They'll play games and be like, oh, like, Japanese star or Japanese American.
They know what they're doing.
It's like, no, she's like Japanese and Haitian, and like if you in her interviews, like, she is proud of the fact that, like, she's Haitian. Takes that, like, stand, like, yo, like, I grew up in like she said, like, I grew up in a Haitian household, like, I grew up speaking Creole, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's proud of her blackness, of the Haitianness, and then, like, I just don't like when, like, sports pages and stuff like that.
I mean, you look at Giannis, Greek freak, he's half Nigerian.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate when they try and pick and choose, like, what race to.
Oh, he's all Nigerian, isn't he? He just lived.
I'm pretty sure.
I think his parents were from Nigeria, but I think he was born in.
Yeah, so he's Nigerian.
Yeah.
He's Nigerian, but he's a Greek citizen.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably the same for all his brothers too. But
it's just sexier.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sexier.
It just,
and I would much rather them say Greek freak than slip up and say nigga on purpose on accident. Like the nigger, I mean Nigerian night.
But for real, yo. But yeah, so like the sport, like you said, like I don't expect the athletes to have the answer. Like them not playing a game, or even if they were to not play the rest of the season, like that's not gonna end racism like there, right? Yeah. But like I do appreciate the fact that like they're making a statement. Like people are getting upset, and when people get upset at their protest, that's how you know it's working. You know what I'm saying? Like Colin Kaepernick took that peaceful protest. All he did was take a knee, and people were tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when it comes to like the protests in the street, now they're asking us, to be peaceful, and it's like, yo, like we tried the peaceful protest in sports, like now you didn't like the answer. Like when we went out to the streets, you don't like the answer. Now we're not playing a game, and like some people, like they know the players should be keeping politics and social social topics away from sports. Like no, like that affects them too.
That is a
Because they're
privilege.
making money, like that has nothing to do with they can't.
That is a privilege that only white people have.
Yeah.
White people say that, but wear MAGA hats. White people will say that and have bumper stickers. First of all, I don't trust anybody that has a bumper sticker, white, black, or indifferent. You are far too committed to whatever. Like,
no, that's a fact. You can't take it off. Whatever you put on it, you can't take it off the car.
Ride with this. Like my mom has bumper stickers from when my sisters were on the honor roll. Those kids ain't even in high school no more. There's no more honor roll.
Yes.
Like that, so if you got bumper stickers for Trump and whoever, if you got bumper stickers for Obama, I'm looking at you weird. Like are you that
They're
connected?
strongly about that.
Are you sure? Like there's no taking that off. Like, like, this car is gonna get sold one day with that Obama. This is
exactly. Can't sell it. It's clear. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think willing to like lose your money for the day. Like they're rich. Like the money's not even that big of an issue. Like they don't play one.
And money's not an issue to us. You know what I mean? Like
there are some players who.
No, I'm talking about even the rich ones. Like they have a certain level of lifestyle.
Yeah. So
every dollar still counts because it's going towards something. So I would never say, oh, they're like, nah. I still listen. Willing to lose your money, your livelihood. I acknowledge it and I support it 1,000%.
Definitely. That's true. Because that's true. Because not everyone. There are people who NBA players live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you can't,
That's even but I respect that on either side. Yeah. Even on the other side, I respect that on the racist side. I hate a quiet racist pussy. Stand tall.
No, that's a fact. No,
I go off about that.
No, I say that all the time.
Say it.
Because we're from New York, but like we moved down here to Virginia, and I'm like, yo, like I'd rather.
What part of Virginia y'all in?
Norfolk, Southern Virginia.
Oh, well, see, look, I used to run it up out there.
Norfolk, Virginia. Okay.
When I was stationed out there when I was in the military.
Okay, that makes sense.
I used to cut hair at Capital Cuts.
Yo, that's my barber. That's where I go right now.
Which one? You go to the one in Park Place or the one across from NSU?
Park Place.
Tell Rick when you get there, next time you go there, tell Rick I said what up.
I bet.
Tell Rick New York said what up.
For sure, bro. Yeah. Yo, my boy Ant, I don't know if he was there when he was back there, but my boy Ant, he does my hair. He cuts me up over there.
He young?
Kind of probably like 30s from New York, like big dude, Jamaican.
Oh, nah, he wasn't there. When I was there, it was me, it was Rick, it was Gerald, it was LaCorey, it was Brandon. And it was just,
that's probably some of the older heads because I've only been there going like a year, so
yeah. I think Brandon got his own shop. LaCorey is in Cali. Gerald might still be there. Old head nigga with not old head, but yeah, he a little older. With dreads. Probably the nicest in the shop. So
maybe I'll have to ask around because a lot of the barbers there are kind of younger now.
Oh, they all.
And I think he's been there for like 2 years.
Oh, yeah. See, I was there. I was down there 08 to I was there from 07. I was there from 07 to 2010.
Okay, yeah. So most of those people probably left because everyone there looks fairly younger. But yeah, man, that's my shop. They line me up. Shout out to Capital.
So when you go there next time, tell Rick New York said what up. He gonna go crazy.
Oh, that's what's up. Look at that. Small world. I forgot what I was saying.
Closet racist?
So I was saying, like, I'd rather the openly racist people, like, I'd rather hear from you because, to be honest, it's like, at least I know you're racist. But in New York, you get a lot of, like, undercover racism. Like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's like, say it with your chest. If you really feel a certain way, like, be out with it. And that's something that ironically, whatever, like, that's what I kind of liked about a lot of the protests and stuff that's been happening. Mm-hmm. Is that it's really been separating and showing kind of like what side that you're on, especially right after the George Floyd with all the looting and protests and people making looting and all that. But like it really showed you kind of like what side that you're on, and it's like it makes me easier because like, oh yes, he's racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, no way, he's racist. Now let me stay away instead of looking like, oh, is he cool? Is he not cool? And then knowing finding out later that like, nah, he never back. But like something like that. So. For real, I like that. let me know from the jump how you really.
Let me know off rip what type of team you want.
But yeah, man. So
let me know my blackness pisses you off, so I can flaunt it.
Yeah.
Right. Let me know so I could be more black.
Yeah,
I'll come back with my do-rag.
Look, I'm gonna spin the block.
Yeah. For real. But yeah, honestly, on the overall, I guess on the overall topic of police brutality, I think we were just talking about this like a little bit today or yesterday. So like, I don't know, like for me, I was just saying like, it's to me, it's just crazy how police brutality becomes like a political topic. Like to me, like I don't understand how. Like, if you have any sort of empathy as a human being, like, if you see a video of a dude getting shot 7 times in his back, like, I don't care. Like, you have to have some sort of sympathy, some sort of empathy. Like, to me, I just don't understand how it has to do with your political point of view. And that's what just gets me upset. It's like, what is political about this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, okay. So, I mean, obviously, it all comes back to white privilege, right? So white privilege manifests itself differently. So if you were to put yourself in the shoes of a white person, one, they would be ugly. 2, they probably gonna stink because I be seeing white people wear their shoes without socks. We know they don't be washing their feet. We know that. They just let the water trickle down, right? But on a serious level, if you look at it, white privilege has painted this country. So their privilege allows them to look at the police as somebody who is a part of a system that works. So when they see the police, who they view as always doing their job, then anything they do will be deemed or registered as right and just. They can't fathom that the police is truly a system and byproduct of slave patrols, a system of mass incarceration, a system of genocide, a system of population control. They can't fathom that because for their whiteness, the system of policing that has been indoctrinated within the United States has done its job for them. They can't see it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, they can't see it for one simple reason. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. Because that would shake the very core of their life. They will have to acknowledge just how regular and how undeserving they truly are.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So what happens? He should have he shouldn't have been walking away. I mean, I get in. The police officers are just doing their job. Can you imagine going into? No, I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Because nothing in that book, nothing in the use of force paradigm does anything short of a direct act of aggression that would endanger your life as a police officer or the lives of others around. Imminent danger is what it says. Anything short of that should result in a firearm being discharged. But the system is not broken. This is not a broken system of policing. This is exactly what it was made for. This is exactly how it was designed. It is doing its job.
Right. So, that makes me think of 2 things. Obviously, no one has the answer, right? But you said yourself.
No. We have the answer.
So let me ask you, because you said this, earlier that you're what do you like to say? So what is the solution? So let me ask you that.
And who has to take accountability in the solution?
The white people. The white people. Who has to take accountability? What do we have to take accountability for?
Yeah.
Black people. We have to take accountability for our communities. We have to take accountability for each other. We have to stop being so willing to record and start being willing to protect. They don't mess with the Hasidic Jewish community because they will put their bodies on the line. They will die over what's there. They tend not to mess with white neighborhoods because there's a reason why in the beginning of this pandemic, why white people can go against the government for trying to save their lives over this mask and over these mandates, these stay-at-home mandates. There's a reason why white people were able to show up with weapons and standing police face and yelling police face and endanger the police lives, not just with a gun, but with the possibility of catching this dangerous COVID-19.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. White privilege. We can't do that. We can't do that shit. You see how they were doing us in New York? Niggas was getting their necks stomped on for not having a mask on. White people was getting high fives.
Yeah, getting masks handed to them.
Masks
handed to them.
It's funny how police. It's funny how it's funny how the function of policing is different based on the color of your skin.
100%.
So we as black people have to stop. We got to stop being so quick to record that shit and being so quick. And we need to be quicker to defend it. After a while, motherfuckers is going to stop bothering people. After a while, they did that with the Italians. Why do you think the mob was able to infiltrate the way it was? Because there was already a respect for the community as Italians in New York because of their willingness to fight for each other.
Yeah.
Now, that is not all our fault. No other race of people have been broken up and segregated as the black community. So I do not ask any black people to overlook that, but I do say, hey, I get it. Some of us is Jamaican, some of us come from slaves, some of us, well, technically all of us come from slaves. Some of us just got our freedom at different times and in different parts of the world. But at the end of the day, we are all black. And we should want to see that personified. We should want to see that perpetuated. We should want to see that continued. And if they keep killing us, it's not going to be continued.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do. That's all we have to do is take accountability for ourselves. Stop looking for a reason to throw people away. Stop looking for a reason to throw undeserving people or deserving people away. Right? So what am I saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you speaking about cancel culture or?
No. Fuck that. I mean, I don't. Cancel culture, I feel like, we'd be here for another 2 hours if I went. But what I do mean is, I mean, the cancel culture that has existed as a byproduct of toxic masculinity and black patriarchy. So what that mean? We be trying to cancel people for being gay. We be trying to cancel people for being queer. We be trying to cancel women for being too loud, too proud. Stop that shit. Stop it. Just stop. It's that simple. Stop that shit. Everybody get together so that way we can really focus on the problem. And that does not mean to tell. So when I say everybody get together, we get together from the bottom up. Even within being segregated, even within being oppressed, there is still a totem pole in this oppression. And we as cishet black men sit atop it. So it's our job to be accountable and make room for those at the bottom. The black women, the black gay women, trans black men, trans black women. You get what I'm saying? Sex workers, our strippers, everybody that tend to do a service or benefit us at the top, but then we be like, oh, back up. No, we got to make space for everybody. You will not know true liberation until everyone is liberated. You got to ask yourself, do you want true liberation for all black people, or do you want access to white privilege? Then that's what black people have to take accountability for. White people just gotta stop your shit. Just gotta stop your shit. Or once we do start taking accountability for shit, we gonna start taking it from y'all either way. So they have a choice. They have a choice.
I hear that.
Well, I mean, just I don't know, I guess, white people stop gaslighting for the most part, stop gaslighting everything. You saw what happened. I didn't have Wi-Fi the last 2 days, so I don't know. Is it Kenosha?
Yeah,
Kenosha. Yeah, you saw what happened with him. And then you compare it to, is it Tamir? Tamir Rice. See what happened to him. He was 12, had a fake gun, and then him walked literally right before it happened. He had his AR-15 out, and he was buddy with two cops, and then left and went and shot into a crowd and killed 2 people and was walked off. No guns were pulled on him, nothing happened. He just literally was arrested normally, as far as I know. That's what
I think he went back. I think he can go back to Illinois.
Yeah. No, he didn't run. He went home.
He went home. Yeah,
there you go.
Illinois.
Yeah, and I think he turned himself in or something like
that. Himself in.
But and it's crazy because
if you're black, you're not getting that far. Period.
What?
You're not getting that far.
Not even close.
Black with an AR-15 in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah, you're getting
during those riots.
Yeah,
shot on sight.
You are a rest in peace shirt.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Hashtag, yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like, after Jacob Blake got shot, and I hate that this happens. Every time that there's a victim, the first thing to do is all these news outlets all of a sudden want to go dig into their past and be like, oh yeah, he had a charge for this, he had a charge for that. Oh, you could have done this. And it's like, the police officer, and no one knows all this stuff in the middle of the act. So trying to, say oh, why are you trying to defend a criminal? You got arrested for domestic violence. Okay, that's in his past. That has nothing to do with what the police were actioning at the moment, right? But then you go ahead and then you go look at, I don't know the name of the dude who's shooting people, but you go look at this incident, and the police chief, they had a statement today, and they're like the way that he was verbing it, he was like, yeah, he's just an individual who had a weapon at the time and was trying to defend himself, and it resulted in 2 people are dead.
No use of the word thug. No use of
the fact that the weapon, he was underage for having the weapon, illegally carried it into a different state, open fire, it's just that narrative that it's just so ingrained in the sense of how you even portray these victims, and I don't know, I can't continue. It makes my head hot.
Yeah.
Just seeing how that they're portrayed in the media, when it's the black person, walking away to his car, all of a sudden now you want to go pull up his book of records, but then when it's this white kid who did something, now everybody now these white folks want to take his side. Now he's a hero, he's a patriot, defending people, you'll self-defense, people trying to defend their businesses and their property, no, 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 it's not it. But
and I guess as for black people, like Mal said, we gotta do better, and
as a community,
and happy birthday to Ian, and rest in power. But
birthday, Ola, happy
birthday. But we gotta do better. Just she says it all. So surprise my piece.
And on that note, I think we're about to conclude. Are there any final points you want to make, Mr. Jones, Edom? Any questions, comments you want to say to the people?
Love your fellow black person, man. Unless they rapists or some weird shit, but love your fellow black person, man. That's it. That's really it, man. There's no $10 word to replace that.
That's a fact. All right, so
Brian Leslie word of the day for that.
For sure. So, how can people find you, Miles Jones, if they want to find you on social media? How can people find you?
I've probably been a guest on your favorite podcast, including this one right here. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Mouse Jones. Guys Next Door every Monday, Quarantine Nightly. That is on all streaming platforms, just as Guys Next Door. And yeah, got Mouse Jones. Well, I think that's it. I be forgetting. Follow Instagram or Twitter, you'll see it. I be forgetting.
Got you. So thank you again very much. Thank you very much for coming on today's episode. I learned a lot. That's what we said. It's good to make sure people see you learn. So I definitely learned a lot. It was great engagement conversation. So I want to thank you again for taking the time out on today's episode. Make sure you're tuning in on all platforms. That's it. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.